Quarto presents How to Eat Well for Adults with ADHD, a practical, non-diet guide to feeding your body and mind when you have ADHD. Written by Rebecca King, MS, RDN. Read by Emma Love. Dedication. To my parents, Patty and Jim, my little sister Allie, and my sweet puppy at heart, Lola, for all the unconditional love, support, and teaching me there is no right way to do things, including feeding yourself. Disclaimer. The author has made every attempt to provide information that is accurate and complete, but this book is not intended as a substitute for professional medical advice. This book is not meant to be used, nor should it be used to diagnose or treat any medical or psychological condition. Readers are advised to consult their own medical advisors, whose responsibility it is to determine the condition of and best treatment for the reader. I'd also like to take this moment to acknowledge that I am writing this book from the perspective of a cisgender, able-bodied, bisexual, white woman with thin privilege. As someone who is bisexual and neurodivergent, I've experienced how having marginalized identities can make life more challenging. But I think it's really important to note I still have immense privileges that make navigating the world and my relationship with food easier. I don't have the lived experience of food insecurity or weight stigma, and I have so much empathy and compassion for anyone reading this who has. Introduction. As an adult ADHDer and registered dietitian, I know how complicated your relationship with food can be. I also know that shame can result when you struggle with feeding yourself nutritious foods. ADHD impacts every part of an ADHDer's life, including their relationship with food. Often, I find the things society labels as easy, like cooking, eating, sleeping, staying hydrated, cleaning, and moving regularly are the very areas of life that ADHDers struggle with the most. In an ideal world, when someone is diagnosed, they would be given a care team of providers to support them with managing their ADHD. They would have a doctor to manage meds, a therapist for emotional support, an ADHD coach to help with day-to-day strategies, a dietitian to support healthy nutrition, a trainer, an occupational therapist, and a peer support group to provide connection and community. Unfortunately, this isn't the reality for most people. Hopefully, this book will help with the food piece of the puzzle. One of the most common statements I hear from ADHDers is, "It's not that I don't know what to do, it's that I don't know how to do it." This leaves ADHDers feeling broken, incapable of being adults, stuck, and confused. If you feel like this, please know that you are not alone, and I'm here to help you. My struggle with ADHD and food. Like many other women who were diagnosed with ADHD later in life, I look back on my childhood and wonder how I wasn't diagnosed sooner. I was a hyperactive kid, so my mom kept me busy with gymnastics, ballet, swimming, and basketball. The basketball court was a sanctuary where my brain felt calm, and I learned the power of being able to hyperfocus. I learned to mask my hyperactivity in class by chewing gum, and my inability to pay attention by maintaining eye contact and nodding along with what my teachers were saying. Although I made good grades, I had to spend a lot more time studying, using different study tricks than my peers, and getting a tutor so I didn't fail 8th grade algebra and got a decent SAT score. I struggled with regulating alertness, so as a kid I would stay up late at night, pacing up and down our upstairs hallway until my brain felt tired. The next day, I would often sleep through high school classes I found boring, but somehow still managed to get A's. I was told I wrote great papers in AP English, but I had no organization, to which I replied in my head, "But that's how my brain works." It was during my freshman year of college at the University of South Carolina when I really started to struggle with everything. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't keep up with schoolwork or sorority chapter meetings, and there was no way I could keep my dorm room any level of clean. I started to suspect I had ADHD because my freshman year roommate had it, and we were two peas in a pod. So I brought it up with my eating disorder therapist, who started the evaluation process with me. As for my complicated relationship with food, that started my junior year of high school. It was a way to deal with the chaos in my mind and to reclaim control when my family moved from Georgia to North Carolina. I became hyper-fixated on being as healthy, read thin, as possible. This was my gateway to developing anorexia. Over the next 8 years, my eating disorder shifted to binge eating and then bulimia. I found myself trapped in what I now realize was the ADHD binge-restrict cycle of not eating enough during the day and binging at night, as well as over-exercising to make up for my binge eating. Over those years, my ADHD diagnosis, therapy, and medication were very helpful in my healing journey. Getting my ADHD managed freed up the mental space I needed to work on healing my relationship with food and my body. But it wasn't until I discovered intuitive eating that I started to really understand the ways that ADHD impacted my relationship with food. Once I understood this, I was able to heal and find ease in my relationship with food, something I truly never imagined was possible. Now I use my education, training as a dietitian, and lived experience as an ADHDer who was able to transform her relationship with food to show other ADHDers that healing is possible. If I was able to find the path that helped me heal what I thought would be a lifelong broken relationship, then I am confident that you too can heal your relationship with food. What to expect from this book. This book is neurodiversity affirming. You will gain a deeper understanding of how ADHD impacts your eating behaviors and learn to shed neurotypical expectations about feeding yourself. You'll discover practical tools and strategies to help you confidently eat in a way that works best for you and your brain. This book takes a non-diet approach. This means you can expect to get encouragement and learn strategies to help you move away from restricting or avoiding foods and toward thinking about how you can give your body the nourishment it needs. We'll talk about the connection between eating disorders and ADHD and why it is so important to move away from restrictive dieting. We'll explore how to build better connections to your hunger and fullness cues and how to create an eating structure that works for you even if your body cues are unreliable. We'll discuss emotional regulation, eating for stimulation, and how to adopt a more flexible mindset around nourishing your body so you can finally move away from the all-or-nothing thinking that can feed the binge/restrict cycle. In the final section, I'll share practical tools and strategies for working with your ADHD brain to make cooking and eating easier, from deciding what to eat to getting food on a plate to keeping up with the endless cycle of dishes. We will discuss how you can make accommodations to address executive function challenges in the kitchen so you can create a simple and practical framework to feed yourself that works for you and your unique needs. In the last chapter, I'll share simple, ADHD-friendly recipes for meals and snacks so you can start cooking. What this book isn't. If you're looking for a book that makes the false promise that if you just eat a certain way, your ADHD will be healed, cured, or fixed, this is not that book. There are plenty of those types of books already. You can eat clean, only buy organic, cut out sugar, gluten, and dairy, and take supplements, and you will still have ADHD. Aside from making false promises, much of the advice in these books doesn't account for the fact that it takes a lot of time, money, and executive function to be able to cut out processed foods and make everything from scratch. As an ADHDer, I find it pretty ableist to push nutrition as a cure for something that doesn't have a cure and doesn't need to be cured, especially when it's written by an individual who doesn't live with ADHD. How to use this book. As you read this book, there are a few things I want you to keep in mind. Adopt, for the most part, thinking. Throughout this book, you will
Sample complete. Ready to continue?